Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Give it a second. Maybe get one or two. One or two. All right. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope that everyone has had a good weekend. I hope that you're ready to start this next week off well. I am not going, and I say this every time. Hi. Lord, my tablet fainted. Hold on. There it goes. That's because I moved my book. Hold on. Hold on, my tablet fainted. There it goes. There you go. So I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Hi, hey. I hadn't been live in a minute, and I said I'm gonna do just a quick, hey, what's good? How y'all doing? How the full moon? Definitely happy post full moon. I hope y'all are being gentle with yourselves. If you've been feeling the feels over the last couple of days, I hope that y'all been feeling your, letting yourself have your feelings, getting rest, and all those good things. I just wanted to kind of just like share and just say, hey, what up? Um, so much has been going on. And so, dang, I can't remember the last time I went live. So, my mentorship program from Self to Source with IFA kicked off a couple of weeks ago. We just had our second group session. I've had all my individual one-on-one sessions, and it's just so dope connecting with everyone and just really kind of seeing where everybody is. And it was really cool because everyone kind of got divination to kind of do a baseline to see where we were. And the fact that the messaging was so similar in terms of where everybody's beginning and how that beginning is aligning to the journey that I'm guiding them on. That was really dope. That was really really dope. And with this full moon energy, so for those that just a quickie, you have a lunar month, which is the 30 days where you have a new and a full moon, and then you have a lunar cycle, which is the zodiac cycle. So the new moon from one sign to the full moon into the other sign. And so you have planted seeds, set intentions during that new moon, and then you are seeing the culmination of those intentions, basically reaping your harvest and seeing things coming to fruition with the full moon. So let me just tell y'all, the way I do my own personal, this is me personal, my full moon readings and things like that is one, I go back to see what I divined over in the new moon. But this particular time, I decided to go and look at what I journaled. And that's a great way for people if you're like learning astrology or just watching the moon phases and you're trying to see how they impact you. Journaling so that you have a record of what's going on is a really great way to do that. So I went back and pulled out my journal. And this is what's really dope. So I did divination. And for those who don't know me, I'm sorry, y'all came all in my space and I didn't introduce. Hi, I'm Ianifa Dania Faomi Shango. I'm an E5 priestess and a spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And I practice more traditional E5, otherwise known as Isheshe. So in November, when we had the Sagittarius new moon, and I did divination, it specifically in the Odu told me to stay close to Isheshe. And this is significant because there's a lot of different children of Ifa tradition, of Orisha tradition, especially in the diaspora. But it specifically told me that I needed to stay close to Isheshe. And I'm like, okay, that was cool. This is right about the time that I actually started talking more about my practice when it relates to Orisha and Ifa. That was really around the time I really started to talk about it. So that's happening. So first I'm just talking about it. Then it's like I'm doing divination and let's say I have to give an EPO and it's like, what do you want to eat? I don't want to eat. well, what do you want my offering to be? I want you to talk about Ifa. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, cool. So then I started to talk about Ifa more, and I started to talk about Orisha more, and I started doing that more. So that continues to go on. And I'm like, I'm developing more of my practice and my gifts and divination and things like that. It's time for you to start offering services to clients. What do you mean? It's time for you to come out the perpetual spiritual closet that you're in. You are ready. You're ready. Go ahead and offer services to clients. And what I love about my relationship with my spiritual team is we have business meetings. Like I be sitting like, okay, and what should we charge? Okay, bet. And when should we start doing this? What tools and resources do I need? Like I mean, like we have business strategy meetings with spirit. That's how we get down. So once I laid everything out, and it was really funny to me because I had been divining for myself for a while, and I had broke my opole. And for those that don't know what it looks like, it's seeds connected on a chain. And so we use it a lot. It's inevitable you'll have to replace it. And my pump baby, she was holding on. She was holding on. She was holding on. But when it was time for me to, you need to buy a new one. Okay, all right. So I bought a new one. I have one for myself and one specifically for clients. Like I use that one if I do, whether I'm doing a collective divination or a divination for someone, I use that one. And then I have my own personal one. So again, I don't know what's going on. So then next thing you know, it comes up, it's like, you need to make any day. Okay. So I do that. And it comes up twice. And I'm like, all right, I make it. So then I think I made a set and I showed it to my god sibling. And my god sister was like, yo, how much you want? I'm like, what do you mean? If I asked you to make one for me, how much do you want? So then it's too loud. At this point, it's too loud. So now I didn't even answer her. I went straight to my altar. What y'all doing? What y'all got? What y'all like? It's how it feels when someone's trying to set you up on a blind date. When someone's trying to set you up on a blind date, and you know that friend, that one friend that's always plotting, whether it's setting you up on a blind date, your birthday's coming up, and you know this one friend is always plotting to do something for you for your birthday, and you get that niggling feeling. That I'm like, talk to me. What y'all doing? What you doing? Am I doing this? And so for me, I was just like, I'm just gonna do this for my god sister. Nah. What do you mean, nah? Nah. This is gonna be something you do. I am? Yes. Oh, okay. So again, he'll be me and my spiritual team business meeting. Notebook is out. What do I need? How many sets do I need to make before I announce that I'm doing this? When's the best day to announce that I'm doing this? How should we roll this out? So now we've added, so we've got divination and now we've got Elekes and days. And it just kept going like that. Just little things. Just once I got like, okay, here's something else. And here's something else. And here's something else. So the mentorship program, I already knew I was going to do it, but I even restructured it to be more of an Ifa spiritual mentorship program that has its roots in self-love, because that's how my practice manifested. So I'm doing that. So reading. Again, like I said, new moon said, stay close to Isheshe. This is what you need to do. Yesterday was a full moon, and I didn't grow up Christian. So I'm not someone that went to Ifa from Christianity. I grew up as an Israelite in the South, in Georgia, not in Atlanta. So I didn't have church or temple. I didn't have that spiritual place that I went to or group of people that I did, religion or spirituality with outside my family. I didn't have that. And what I realized in my own journey was that I wanted to cultivate that. In my area, there's a lot of Lukumi Santeria. They have misas. And for me personally, given what Amisa actually is, to me, it doesn't feel like a place where someone can go and dip their toe in. I don't know about Orisha. Someone dip my toe in, get it a little wet, just enough to learn something, because that's not what that particular space is designed for. So I kept thinking I wanted to do something, and I didn't know what I wanted to call it. I didn't want to call it church, but for a visual perspective, for someone, I feel like that's what they would probably make it akin to. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And I also had a nice case of imposter syndrome. I'm like, but it kept coming up. You want to do this. I want you to teach. I want you to do this. So I'm like, okay. So Friday was shadow work. Alafia Darcel, happy Sunday. Lovely to see you as always. Such a beautiful energy. Friday was shadow work. And what kept coming up, I was channeling, you need to share that you want to do this. Because the irony is, I set a date. I put it on my website, I made the event, and I set a date. This is when I'm going to start doing this, and never socialized it. Not once. Not once. I think I told someone in passing, but I didn't socialize that this was something I was going to begin offering. And then Friday was like, say it now. What? Now, right now, you need to socialize this today. Okay. So Friday, mind you, the date was the 3rd, Saturday. So Friday, I pull all my God kids together and yes. I pull up my God kids together and I'm like, hey, FYI, I gave them some updates about things I wanted to do community service wise and things like that. But I said, FYI, I'm going to start holding Saturday service, and it's going to be Ifa and Orisha based. And I want this to be a space where people can come, whether they practice or not, and just get some learning exposure to how I experience Ifa and Orisha. So they were like, cool. And my godson is like, yo, can I tell people? Is it just us? Nah, you can tell people. I'm going to send the email out to my mailing list today. So that evening, I sent the mailing list in the email out. So Saturday, I don't have a plan. I don't have an agenda. I got nothing written down. Every time I tried to stop and write something down, something got in my way. I couldn't even plan because sometimes I feel like Orisha just like me for freak it. Like, no, I don't want you to have an agenda. I want you to just go and freak it. Do you. So Saturday morning, I get on there and, people are popping in. It was funny because I have my website built through this platform and it'll tell you who's been on your site. So when I checked my notifications, I noticed a name and it's somebody I follow on TikTok. So I'm just like, no, it's not them. Somebody trolling me on my website, disrespectful. Get into the Zoom. Everybody's popping in. I've got Yemo John's music playing because it's Saturday. That's what we do. And the same name pops up. And I'm like, dude, in my first session, I'm going to get a troll. I'm like really like feeling it's not this person. It couldn't possibly. Because in my mind, I'm not big enough for this person because of how I've told my ego has compared me to this person. Because in my mind, I'm like, I want to sit at their feet and learn from them. I love this content creator. I just want to sit at her feet and learn from her. And so in my mind, she would never come to something I was doing because who am I? So I'm looking at the name, and plus because they didn't have their camera on, I was really just like preparing myself to be trolled. So I go through, I do the teaching and talking and things like that. And I actually do a prayer cycle. I take them through a prayer cycle. And it was interesting that morning ran in such a way because I had not actually done my morning prayers. So I take them through my prayer cycle. So the moment I say that, and I wanted it to be interactive. So I wanted to guide them through a mojuba, calling their ancestors. So everybody turns their cameras on. And it's her. Oh my God. When I tell you, the scream that I scrumped, I'm like, oh my God, why are you here? And then I cried. Boo-hoo, sobbing, crying. Because for me, that was confirmation. The Odu that I got Friday, I do my divination on Fridays. The Dodu I got Friday, the line in the Odu says, Orisha and Ifa are behind you 100%. They are supporting everything that you're doing. And so then to see her in there, and it's actually her, like it's really her. And I'm like, oh my God. And I couldn't even, at that moment, I couldn't hold it. At that moment, all I could do was cry. That's it. And the only thing I could say is I have no idea why you see me this way, but I thank you, Ifa. I thank you to my ancestors. I thank you, Orisha. I thank you to angels, all my spiritual court that be riding for me and telling me, like, you know, you know. I'm like, no, because I still feel new. But the truth and the reality that my ego doesn't yet grasp, but I know it, I am consciously aware of it, is this is lifetimes of experience. Like I've had the past life regression done. The last one I had done, the first lifetime that came up, I was a Yoruba priestess. And all like they all showed up in that life. Orisha showed up in that regression. So it's not new. It's just new this time. It's just new this time. But I keep pulling from it. And so when I look at that, and the full moon is a culmination of things. So I look at the seed that was planted in November saying stay close to Isheshe. And now I'm looking around and I'm like, I got a class full of people wanting to learn not only about their self, but Ifa. I lead a service, and every single person that never met me said, I'll be back when you do this again because I want to learn more from you. I don't know. I'm almost Shango, and humility is big. Shango sometimes is the reluctant leader. Like, me, the king? Nah, not, you know, he had to come to that. He had to come to the owning of him being king. He didn't, like, they said, you're king. Wrong one. I'll be back. And when he came back, he was king. And I read like me all day. Like, you are the mother freaking empress. And I'm like, are you sure? No? Are you sure? You sure you got the right one? You sure? You sure it's me? You sure it's me? And being able to see me birth this thing. Like, I love teaching. I love it. I love seeing people grow. Like, one of my God's children today was like, yo, hey, you told me to do this thing about asking for a message in my dream so I can have clarity on something. So I listened to what you said. And so before I went to bed last night, I asked a question. And in the dream, I got the answer. And I remembered the answer when I woke up. That right there, I could do that all day. If money was no issue, like if I didn't have bills to pay, if I needed food, if I could just like, boop, I'm trying to get there, boop, and things just appear, I would do this still. I would teach still. I would allow people to experience themselves as God still. I love doing divination. That joint be fun. That is fun for me. I would do that all day, every day. You might have to still pay me in food because that'd be exhausting. But like, if it wasn't an issue, I would do that all day, every day. I love making ilekes and ides. I'm like, this don't look like that joint you got in the store. This ain't gonna be like the one you got in the store. This is different. And then I make them specific to the person. So even if 3 people came and got Shango from me, Shango ain't gonna look the same for everybody because he manifests different. So when I'm sitting there thinking about the person and thinking about why they need Shango, I am like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make it like this. And then I'm gonna funk it out. I'll be having fun. And that's the other thing. I told my God kids, I'm like, your spiritual practice should be fun. Because it's fun for me. My spiritual practice is fun. I enjoy communing with my spiritual team because, like I told them Saturday, I don't always have to do formal prayers. I enjoy doing oriki. I really do. I thoroughly enjoy doing oriki. When I did Yemoja's oriki for them on Saturday, that thing felt so good. Hit that Yemoja Lodo. That's my, oh, yes, yes. Even my God siblings were like, yo, that one right there hit different. I enjoy that. But then there's some days like I just want to talk. Can we just talk? Can we just vibe? Can we just talk? And that's okay. And that's okay. I don't always have to do one in Yoruba. Why? Because God knows all languages, right? So I don't have like I don't have to say it in any particular way. If I decided to reach back to high school and say something in French, I'm confident they heard what I said. I said what I said and they got it. I said what I said and they got it. And that's such a beautiful thing. I didn't expect the number of students I have either. I had a hope for a number of students, but I didn't expect it like that, especially considering like one came from TikTok, which you know how people sometimes the inbox is like, hey, how much is da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And then it's like crickets, nothing. Once you drop that dollar figure on them, it's like nothing. This one was different. He saw a video and he asked me a question. His specific question was how I felt about some traditions who don't believe that women should be priests. And full transparency, I was ready to pop off, but I didn't. Cool head. Good. Boss was like, don't do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm ready. You ready? Like, you show. I'm ready. And so I answered his question honestly and truthfully in my feeling on it. And that was good because then he reached out to me and he's like, I'm looking for an elder. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? He said, I'm looking for an elder. And he told me what he needed. And it was that particular week, there were 3 men that came to me for the same reason. And I always say this, I don't take anyone coming to me lightly, like not at all. I'm always in awe, especially when it's people who do not practice ATR. In fact, what's interesting is I have more people who don't practice ATR that will come to me than people who do. Like I did a group Ori cleanse Wednesday, and one of the people she's white and Polynesian and Catholic, like Catholic. But she came to an event where I was doing divination and it came up she needed an Ori cleanse. And she hit me up afterwards like, yo, what would that take? Okay. Even today, one of my homeboys, very much Christian, very much got that head cleansed today. And I'm just like, I'm doing something right with my energy. I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right where anyone can feel comfortable with me, whether we're doing the same thing or not. And I think that's important. And so I'm looking at this full moon in Sag, illuminating my 6th house, which is my day-to-day life. It's my day-to-day life, what I do every day. And looking how Orisha and Ifa is something I do every day. This is something I do every day. Whether it's a simple, invoking Ayla in the morning and listening to, okay, so y'all got a few downloads, cool. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That's what I'm going to do. You just sent me like 4 or 5 things to get done. So instead of sitting in here, I'm about to get up and do those 4 or 5 things that you told me to do. That's my Evo. I'm going to go do the things that you told me to do. And so I get up and I go do the things, making my life the moving prayer, the moving invocation. I make my life that way. I get a few downloads and it's a list. A lot of times I'm like, I don't think you want me to sing for you. I think you want me to do this. And I'll get confirmation. Do you want me to do that or this? And a lot of times I'm like, yeah, go do that list that we didn't send it to you for nothing. Go do that. And I go do it. It's an honor for the divine and other people to trust me to do this in this way. I don't take that lightly. People's spiritual journey, I look at some people and it's like, no, I don't want you to emulate me. And they'll say, like, I just want to be, no, you can take what I give you, but I need you to funk that thing for your own practice. It should not be a cookie cutter carbon copy of how I connect with the divine, because it's not going to manifest for you the same way it manifests for me. It's not going to manifest the same way. So I'm really happy that they're open to cultivating what's theirs. It's like, okay, the Orishas are who the Orishas are, but they still manifest differently. I have a God sibling that's Shango, and Shango manifests so different between the two of us. It is like, it's the same, just manifest differently. And just experience Shango in a way that is different than the way they experience Shango. It's just different. They always say to me, you don't just, they experience me as Yemoja. I don't necessarily experience, well, that's probably not true, but I don't necessarily always see myself as Yemoja. They say, no, you are Yemoja, period. Like, you are her. When we look at you, that's who we see. We see Yemoja. And I'm like, okay. And sometimes lightning bolts around me, depending on what's going on. But yeah, I'm like, okay with that. But it's not, doesn't mean that that's how they're going to see Yemoja for themselves if they ever crown her. So I want my God kids to know that, like, there's no right way. There is a way, and they have to find out what their way is. They have to figure that out. And so I'm just here to give them some structure, some bones, some boards, if you will, some bricks and mortar. And at the end of the day, they have to still build this house for themselves to be in it. They still have to build that. And what I also thought was really dope, for those that don't know, the celebration in Ile Ife was this weekend. And that was the other synchronicity. Like, I felt like that was also part of the reason Ifa was like, you must do this on Saturday, because they was turned up on Saturdays. And they're like, I need you to do this on Saturday. So there's a Babalawo. I don't know him. I feel like his initial contact with me may have been intended to be like one of those, like, your ancestor sent me. But I don't know what I did that redirected him. So he never ever said those words to me. In fact, he's actually been very polite and respectful. I even gave him advice, because he said he had students who weren't learning the way that others were. And I said, that means you have to teach them different. And he was open to receive that wisdom from me. So he hit me up today. He was like, yo, he let me know what was going on. And he sent me the Odu and some highlights. And one of the things that was prominent was Ori. And that your Ori is what's bringing you success. And for those that don't know, your Ori is your head. It is also your consciousness. It is the part of you that remembers its connection to the Most High. So what I realized is that there was a reason why I've been doing a bunch of head cleansings. Like, since I started offering divination, I did 4 on Wednesday, 5 today, 6. Just in the last week, I've done 6. Just this week. Just in the last 7 days, I've done 6 of them. And I kept saying to people, because people kept telling me they had headaches and things like that. And I'm like, what's going on? And I was like, some of y'all are taking spiritual baths, but you don't wash your hair that way. Some of y'all are taking spiritual baths, but you don't include your head and your face, which is also part of your body. It's your crown chakra. Why would you not wash your head? And I had somebody look at me like, yo, it was like an aha moment for them, because they realized they would sit in a tub of a spiritual bath, but they did not take a spiritual wash, and that included their head. So when I started, everyone needed one. Every single solitary person I had done divination for like a 2-week span needed their Ori cleansed. And the way it was like, well, if nothing bad is happening, I'm like, okay, let me give you an example that you can resonate with. You're driving your car, it runs, It gets you from point A to point B. Yes, cool. What happens when you wash your car and you vacuum it out? It run different, don't it? You don't know why. You just know it run different when it's cleaner. You can't explain it, but everyone is aware of it. You wash your car, it run different. Same difference. Wash your head. I'm like, even if you don't want to do an Ifa or re-cleanse, if you take spiritual baths, wash your head. It's your crown. It is your connection to the divine. Wash your head. It's the thing that's picking up all the information. Wash your head. Like, you're so quick to wash everything else and forget the antenna. You need to wash the antenna. You need to wash the antenna. So it's interesting because I told someone, I was like, it's interesting when I told them, like, you're always connected to the source. And the way I told them is like, in God's infinite wisdom, when God decided, I'm going to manifest in all of these things, including humans, I'm also aware I'm going to forget. So I need a piece of me to always remember my destiny, remember the path that I've chosen, remember everything. And this is the part of me that will send me those lovely intuitive nudges and those intuitive hits. And this is the part of me that helps me decide what blessings am I calling for? What is coming my way? What do I want not come my way? These are all of the things. And I'm like, that's your Ori. That's your Ori. And this is your way to stay that connection. And because it's your spiritual connection, that embodiment of your spiritual self, it's picking up all of the things, protecting you with all the things. And just like you cleanse everything else, you have to cleanse it. You have to cleanse it. Wash it clean, purify it so it's vibrating at its most efficient self. And I love that everyone was like, that makes so much sense. It's always been really cool because they were like, that makes so much sense to me. I know, because I try to simplify it. Like, sometimes we're like, we don't like what? No, this is the part of you that is connected to the divine. It's connected to spirit. It's connected. That's the part of you that remembers. And I said, even if nothing else, in a simple concept, there's a piece of you that's sitting with the source and always remembers that connection and keeps you connected. It's the part of you that says, hey, you want some money? I'm cool with that. Let the money come. You want a partner? I'm cool with that. That's why would you not say thank you? You thank yourself. You do self-care. You want to go dip in a hot tub. You want a real good bath, feel good, massage. Yeah, do that for your Ori. Do that for your head. Give it honor and thanks. I said, even if you don't have to know prayers in Yoruba to honor it on a daily basis. I am proof positive of that. The first thing my Iyalode said to me, the very first divination before she cast the Odu, you are already living Ifa. You are already walking Iwapele. You have already been doing the work. How did I know? Because I had been saying prayers over my Ori for a year. I understood it was important. I was like, okay, this is a piece of me that says yes. This is a part of me that says yes or no before anyone else. Before anyone else. That knowing that you're not having to go outside yourself. This is you. This is your essence. Your inner spirit. You. So when you say, hey, I need some money, it's your Ori that says, okay. Hey, I want a new house. It is your Ori that says, okay. Why would you not tell it thank you? Her, him, they, however that resonates with, tell it thank you. So for me, when I learned about that, and I was lucky, like, I feel like my journey to ATR was like very perfectly aligned for me. It was perfectly aligned because I wanted to tap into self-love. And for me, Ori work is self-love. My Ori and I, we're together. We do this together. It's us. So for me, it's self-love work. It is self-love work. I honor myself in the mornings. That's how I feel about it. I'm honoring myself. I'm like, thank you for choosing this great destiny. This is a good head. My Ori is a good Ori in the mornings. And I did that every morning before I even knew I was going to initiate every morning. You don't have to initiate to honor yourself in that way. You don't have to crown to do that. I've said this on a live before. I will give you the prayer in English. I will give it to you in English because, like I said earlier, spirit is multilingual. Like, yeah, all languages. The notion, like, well, they don't understand is that's human, and they're not human. All languages. Say it with the language you were given, and it will be heard and understood clearly. Clearly. My Ori has been, I love it. Like, it's the most amazing aspect of my practice is my Ori work. Because even if I don't say an Oriki, a prayer to anyone else, and I'm going to grow out of prayer. Now that I know what prayer means, beg, I'm going to grow out of prayer. But so just, grace. But that knowing that says, hey, so I think that it would be really awesome if we had this experience. What do you think? Are you cool with that? And also me knowing the yes from my Ori. I know when my Ori says yes. I don't have to pull up a shell or nothing. I know when my Ori says yes. And I know when my Ori says no. My favorite self and I are not in this battle. Like, we partner. We do this thing together. And so I am purposeful. So I know I'll get that nudge. And it's interesting. My Ori will send me nudges, not even just to get a cleanse. It's like, yo, can you retwist your locks? Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Like now, I need a retwist now. I know it. I need a retwist now. So I'm gonna do a retwist on my locks. I am funny. I've not really let anybody touch my hair because I've only actually let one person do lock maintenance for me. That's it. Only one. No one else. There's only one other person outside, like my mama, that I would probably let do anything in my hair. That's it. Other than me, that's it. My kids can play in my hair, but I mean, somebody messed around, and I didn't know she was getting ready to do it. I went to visit the village that's close to me, and they were having a Shango festival. And so, you go to somebody's house, you want to be a good guest. So I brought an offering for Shango. And they were like, okay, cool. They took me to the shrine. And like, come on, you come in, yada, yada, yada. I didn't know she was going to touch my head. It caught me off guard. But then she couldn't move. And when she was done doing the prayers for the elbow and things, you got an entire storm. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. She's like, you should warn people. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to touch my head. I didn't know it was going to happen. I didn't expect it. And so I couldn't warn you. I couldn't say, hey, might not want to do that, homie. Like, I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry. Because she said she couldn't move. So I don't let people play around my head. I don't let people play around my Ori. It's interesting because I didn't go to a tradition that would say, who is your head? I don't have a head Orisha. I have my Ori, period. None of my Orishas are fighting for supremacy, whether they are the ones that I've crowned or ones yet to be crowned. No one's fighting for supremacy. They are simply manifesting as need be. People that come close to me and want to do energy work, they know, especially if they're Black, that, hey, so Shango's like really around you. And I'll be like, you're cool. Go ahead. They're just letting you know that they're there. It's just an FYI in case you thought she wasn't. She's covered. She's covered here. No one's fighting for supremacy. When I'm with my kids and I'm feeling extra loving, thank you. She's feeling extra loving and things like that. And Yemoja is just beaming. Hi. Yemoja is just beaming through me. No one's fighting for supremacy. The other night, I live 2 hours from Savannah, As you can see, I wear spectacles. I went to take my god sister. I made her some Ogun pieces. So I went to take them to her because I knew she was getting ready to go to New York and I wanted her to have them before she went to New York. So I drove down there that evening. So it's evening when I get to her. Halfway down the road, guess who realizes she's not wearing glasses? I'm already an hour away. Ain't no turning around to go get my glasses. So go hang out, yada, yada. I'm not spending the night. I go home, riding home, 10, 11 o'clock at night with no glasses. You know who's really good and has a great sense of direction and really like can see what's happening? That is nothing but Ochosi. That's nothing. That was nothing but because when I say that at night, oh no, I am a phenomenal driver and I have an amazing sense of direction. I'm a phenomenal driver and I have an amazing sense of direction. Like nobody's fighting for supremacy in my being. They manifest as they need to. I can tap into that ashe as I need to support me in that moment. My Ori is my head, and that's that. And so I didn't end up going to someone. And what's funny is I tried. I booked a session. I booked a session to see who my head Orisha is because at that time, I only knew about that one way. From my mind in that moment, I only knew that this was the only path to Orisha. I didn't think I was going to find anyone that did something different. But came the time for the appointment and they had me written down wrong. So they ended up giving me a tarot reading. And then they realized, oh my gosh, you were supposed to get your, guardian angel reading. I'm like, it's cool. I never felt the urge to go back. Never felt the urge to go back. And thus I didn't. And then my elder ended up not even practicing that particular Orisha tradition. So I'm really, like my Ori is like, no, absolutely not. We're not doing this. This is not what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay. So it's interesting to me and awesome how I've been like working with people and helping people just in a basic sense. I'm like, you don't have to come to Ifa to do this. You don't have to come to Orisha to do this. Do you have a neck? Is there a ball of flesh on top of it that you call a head? Then you have an Ori. So here are some things that you can say in the morning to give your Ori gratitude. They're in English. You don't have to learn another language. Here you go. I'm giving it to you for free. I simply want you and your Ori to have a good working relationship. That's it. That's it. You want to give me a tip, a donation or something? Cool. But this is free. I will give this to you. Why? Because someone gave it to me for free. So I'm going to give it to you for free. Someone gave it to me for free. I got free game. So I'm going to give free game. I didn't pay for it, so you're not going to pay for it. I've had people on TikTok inbox me, yo, did you really mean you would get those prayers for free? Yep, give me your email address. And what was so dope is then they circled back. I've been saying these every morning, and I feel such an energetic difference. I met this young man. I did his divination. And when I first met him, I was like, and it could have been because he was high when he got to me, but I still was like, I gave him a head cleanse and them Ori prayers. And the next time I seen him, like, yo, are you even the same person? He physically looked different. He physically looked different to me. And I'm like, what have you been doing? He said, I've been saying my Ori prayers in the mornings. Psh, yeah, you got to keep doing that because that thing, wow. There was a shadow over him. Just not himself, just really not himself. And so he's just that's it in English. Nothing major. He joined my class and he has to make a self-love altar. Nothing major. That just one simple addition to his daily routine. And I could tell visually looking at him that he was different. He even tried to greet me as a priest, which was so dope because he asked me, he's like, I want to greet you appropriately, but I don't know how to say the words. And I'm like, okay, I'll record it. So I recorded Alafia Aburu Aboye Abu Shishe. And I sent that to him. And he said it the next time I saw him. And I'm like, because I'm a teacher. And so when my students do things, it makes me happy. So I was excited. I'm like, yes. Okay, then, sir. It's been so nice to see him unfold and blossom in this way. It's been just a joy to watch him just blossom in this way. And it doesn't, even people who, the gentleman whose head I did today, he's a Christian. He's still a practicing Christian. He has no designs or anything that I have seen that are telling me he's going to come to an ATR. And that's okay. But I love his openness to do the homework I give him. I'm like, this is what you need to do. I taught him how to feel his intuition and to ask it questions and to build a relationship so that when he really needs to trust his intuition, he'll know. There won't be any confusion. I'm like, oh my God, is this my intuition? No, I taught him I'm going to know with 100% certainty whether this is ego or intuition trying to support you. And it was really cool because I said, one day, just let your intuition take you on a journey. So he called me, he said, hey, I just want you to know my intuition is taking me for a walk. What? Let me just say this, and this is not a knock on Black women at all, but let me say, Black men as students, like, if I get a brother that wants to learn or just needs divination from me and I give them homework, they like immediately. They don't pause. They like the next day have implemented the homework, immediately implemented the homework. And I think that is so refreshing because social media will have you feeling like all Black men is beefing with all Black women. And I'm here to say fallacy, untruth, propaganda. I love the brothers in my network, in my circle, in my orbit, in my reality. And I'm always grateful because I understand the noise that's out there. So when they come to me and say, I feel safe in your energy and allowing you to read, heal, align, whatever to their energy, that means a lot to me. When women come to me, oh my gosh, women coming to me is like always such an emotional experience. It's always such an emotional experience because everyone has intuition. Gender is not like intuition is not specific to gender. Anyone has it. But womb holders, that womb, that whether it's still physically in your body, that space, that sacred space that acts as a portal between heaven and earth, causes our intuition to be something else. And so when you're not listening to it, when you're not trusting it, when you're unable to discern if this is intuition or it's not, and then you get a confirmation for something your spiritual team has been trying to guide and tell you, that emotional release from your physical body that says, yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you. Man, I think it's powerful. That is such a powerful, powerful, powerful thing. Yesterday, I did a really quick divination, and the way the ancestors responded, you could tell no one had been calling their names. You could tell no one had been pouring them libations. The young lady, that came to me, I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I need you to get a glass of water in a bowl. I'm perceiving you got carpet. Go get a glass of water in a bowl. And I walked her through pouring libations and doing a mojuba for her ancestors. And I'm like, I bet there's not anyone doing this for them. No one's doing this for them. As my god sister would say, no one's ancestralizing them. So having that moment and someone's like, yo, are they about to say our names in honor? What? Like, even today, like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you space to call your ancestors. I like the ancestors to be around when we do this work. So I want you to call your ancestors. And he said one name, and I felt that joy. I was like, oh, okay. And I told him, I said, nobody's calling their names. Ashe, no one's calling their names. You don't need a table to say names. You don't need a table. You're the altar. You don't need a table. A table is a nice to have. But if you don't have the space, the finances, whatever, they know what you're like. But you have a mouth. And even if you are someone who cannot physically speak, you can think their names. That energy will still emanate to them because they also know whether you can speak or not. But calling their names, and even if it's just simply calling your parents' names and saying the line of my mother and father, known and unknown to me, my benevolent ancestors of unconditional love, wishing them peace, wishing that they be elevated, wishing that for their elevation. Like, you don't need a table for that. You don't need a table for that. The table is great. The table is an amazing thing to have. But my ancestral veneration process started with like a little broken desktop like this, a broken end table, and it was not set up 100% of the time. I had a little box. Indeed, heavy on the benevolent. I had a little box with a tea light candles, a little bundle of sage, a little white cloth I had folded up. I think it was like a pillowcase or a baby blanket or something like that. I would get a glass and I would take all the stuff out the box. I think I had found a feather, take the stuff out the box, set my little broken table up, get a glass of water, sit there, talk, like not invoke, not pray, talk. Well, yesterday I did, and I would just talk and I would just say names and surnames or whatever. It's like, okay, well, let me tell you about my day. And that's all I did for weeks. That's all I did. Is simply talk. Simply talk. Simply acknowledge. Simply give gratitude. I might recognize a gift and like, yo, I put a bookcase together and I knew that my mother's father was a carpenter. And so I was like, yo, hey, thank you for them hand skills. Thank you for them hand skills. I appreciate it. That's it. Like sometimes we overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Even with me being initiated in a whole ATR, sometimes y'all want a tuna fish sandwich? Okay. All right, cool. Just a half? All right, bet. Here goes a half a tuna fish. You're good with that? Excellent. Fantastic. You want me to play you some music? I have a playlist specifically for the Orisha and my ancestors. Put it on my tablet, turn it on. I don't even have to stay in there. They just want to listen to music. So I go in there and I turn the music on. Sometimes they want me to dance. Earth, Wind, and Fire. I keep telling y'all, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like for me, Earth, Wind, and Fire, you're invoking all the elements through music. That's that. Fantasy, mm-mm. And I know they'll be close because I'll start to cry. Every once in a while, my son is a good like telltale sign because I'll be sitting there and I'll get to a point in the prayer cycle and he just shows up out of nowhere, just running in there. And he'll say, Mommy, good job. And I'll just take that and like, yeah, thanks, son. I appreciate it. And then he leaves. He says, Mommy, good job. And then he leaves. And I take that as confirmation. It don't got to be that serious. In fact, it shouldn't be serious. It should be light. It should be light. It shouldn't be like, oh, thank you too much. No. Have fun with your practice. Have fun with it. Enjoy yourself in your spiritual practice. If you feel like that you still have to walk on pins and needles, then you are still, I will say, if you are not still actively practicing a Abrahamic religion, but you still feel like you walk on pins and needles with spirit, you are still healing from that Abrahamic religion. You are still healing from it. My god sibling and I were just talking about that. My very first elder was not Ifa. Her mission was to help me cultivate a practice, period. Help me walk in my spiritual gifts, period. And so the first session, she asked me, what do I want? And I said, I want a relationship with God where I don't feel like God hates me. That's what I wanted. I don't want to feel like God hates me. And so the beautiful manifestation of Ifa, Orisha, angels, Interu, I got like it's not just, I talk about Orisha, it's not just them. When my spiritual court manifests, how I feel their presence, how I acknowledge and recognize them, they show me that the vision of an angry, I'm going to be upset with you if you don't do this the right way, divine source was a mechanism of control. It was a tool of control. They are not sitting around, oh, you gave such and such a bigger offering than me. Now you're sounding very much Abrahamic. You're sounding like you're giving the divine an ego and they don't have one. That's a human concept, period. That's my feeling on it. That's a human concept. You're offering with love and intention and it being the right one aligned with the right medicine, because it's got to be the right medicine. You trying to start a business and you're like, yo, I need some help with this business, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, why don't you want food as the offering? Because food ain't going to help you start no business. Duh. Food is not going to help you start a business. You know what, Will? I gave you a download the other day for something to do. You do that download. You go ahead and take that one step towards that download. It don't even have to be the full thing. Can you take one step towards completing the thing that I told you? And that will remove the obstacles out of your way. That will give you momentum. That will give you the momentum that you need the right medicine. You need the right medicine for the situation. And you also need to go to the right provider. Yeah, right medicine provider is good. Yeah, the right provider. If you are trying to get money to pay your rent and your rent is due in a couple of days, you might want to ask your ancestors and your Ori, because you need that like immediate, not divine timing. I need this like now, like right now, like right now. That's an Ori and ancestors type of request. Now, if you're trying to build that long-term wealth and longevity, yeah, go ahead and go to anybody else in your spiritual court. Like, go to the whole spiritual court. Go with everybody with that. But understanding that your ancestors remember, they have detached from their mortal coil, but they have not forgotten it. They remember what time was like. They're like, ooh, you in a crunch, ain't you, baby? They remember. They remember. They remember. That's why some questions don't go to Orisha. That's why there's like your Ori, your ancestors, and then Orisha. And like that. Because some questions don't need to go all the way to them. Something they just simply need to go through your Ori and your ancestors. That's where they need to go. And that was such a logical thing to me. Like, that's logical to me. And some people are like, no, logic absolutely still has a place in your spiritual, religious life. Its literal translation is head. That's in the literal translation. It literally means head, but it is your consciousness. It is your essence. It is your inner spirit. It is the aspect of you that remembers its oneness with the source. So it is the aspect of you that opens the way to your destiny. It's your destiny. So if you want money, inquire of your head. That's because it's you. Like, if you didn't sit with the Most High and write that you're going to have this experience, you're not going to have it because your Ori hasn't sanctioned it. You're not going to have that experience. But if your Ori has already said you're going to be wealthy, kind, and all these good things, then all you got to do is be in alignment with it. You're asking your Ori like, hey, you know what? Would be really nice to be wealthy. And so your Ori is going to be like, say less. Let's go ahead and take you on a journey to get there. Because you have to be able to not only honor, but understand and trust. That's where being able to trust your intuition comes from. And that can be challenging because most people don't teach you that you get an intuitive nudge physically. The claircognizant, clairaudient, meaning the thought or the audio of something concrete that comes is there's a precursor to it in your physical body. But because we be so busy moving and grooving and going, we don't feel our intuition. Intuition is a feeling. We don't feel our intuition because we be so busy. And since no one has you sit down and learn what your intuition feels like, you don't know it. And so it makes it hard for you to trust your intuition, which is why I just put it on YouTube for free, how to do it. That way you can sit and be like, hey, however you want to address your Ori. My Ori is my favorite self. Favorite self. Should I go? And I get a response. I get a like, yes. Even when I say that, all I gotta do is say that, and I will get like, yes, what's up? What up though? So I could sit and ask a yes or no question. I don't need a shell. I don't need a pendulum. I don't need a card. I don't need nothing. I am the pendulum. I am the card. I am the dowsing rod, whatever you want to call it. I am the tool. I'm the spiritual tool. So I sit and I ask, should I? It's the that's right. I opened a shop and it changed my thing. Let's see if I can find the comment button. Oh, go to my link tree in my bio. It's in there. It's linked in there. But if you go there, I have it on there. Feeling your intuitive yes. And it's like you don't have to subscribe. It's free. I did it for free. It's 30 minutes. I teach you how to feel it. And I give you homework to do to work through it. If you end up not seeing it, Alton, in my link tree, I'll be off of here in a little bit. Just inbox me and then I'll just send you the link. But it's like being able to commune with my Ori is like, that's the easiest. That's the easiest. It's easy for me because I purposely spent time doing it. I purposely just spent time like, okay, we're gonna get to know each other. Let's have a conversation. Let's get to know each other. Let's vibe. Even when I decide to use a spiritual tool, I know what spiritual tools my Ori likes. I know what spiritual tools my Ori likes. The same thing goes with my ancestors. I know what tools they like. I know what tools they vibe with. Actually, my entire spiritual team like that. I know what they vibe with. What can I do that is going to be the most aligned to how they want to communicate with me? If I'm not sitting and actively channeling and going into like oneness and channeling or automatic writing or things like that, I know what to get. I know how to get the job done. But at the end of the day, learning to just sit and be like, okay, should I do that? And get a yes or no? Like my Ori got real good GPS skills. I'm like, yo, I feel like the train is blocking my way. So should I go left or right? Left, okay, bet. And I go to the left. I go left and I dodge traffic. We've been working on that one for a minute, like where I could trust my internal GPS. Like which Walmart should I go to? Should I go to this one or this one? Okay, and I realized one particular one, my Ori never wants me to go there. So unless I have no choice, I don't go to that one because my Ori don't want me to. There's a Botanica. My Ori never tells me yes if I ask to go there, so I don't go. I don't go, and they always run up into, "Hi, I haven't seen you in a while." Yeah, you sure haven't, because my Ori said no. I don't tell them that, but in my head, I'm thinking it's because my Ori don't want me to. I don't know why. I ain't asked all them questions. You said no. I'm like, okay, alrighty, that's what it is. And when I ask, is this for me? You know what I'm saying? Is this for me or is this my ego? I know. I saw somebody today and she was asking for money for food. And you never know sometimes. I get that. You never know. But because I have been the person needing money for food, but never felt the compulsion to ask, just was hoping that, I lucked up on some. So she asked, and I was like, so I gave her a couple of dollars, but I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, should I give her some more? And my Ori was like, no. Why? Because I'm starting to stack some. I got bills to pay. I ain't paid my bills yet. I'm gonna need you to take care of that. I need to take care of that. Only then? No. See, so I will take to say it like this. My practice is practically spiritual, meaning the two are interwoven. I'm having both a spiritual and a human experience, and they are working in tandem with one another, not separate. They're in tandem, meaning that I can go to them for whatever. So there's an exercise in the video where I say, let your intuition dress you. Let your intuition dress you. And the way I do it, because there'll be days where I just get dressed, and there'll be days where I'm like, I have a task, and I want to make sure that what I'm wearing is energetically aligned to the task at hand. So I let my intuition pick out my clothes. I might lay something out, or I might stand in the closet and do this. And when I get my yes, that's what I put on. That's what I put on. If I don't have a task, I may not ask it that way. Unless I brush my hand across something because I have clairtaction. Sometimes I'll brush my hand across something and I'll get a reaction. And I'm like, you want me to wear that? I don't always have to ask because now I'm so in tune with it. I will feel it whether I'm asking a question or not. And that's when that I'm no longer reactive, I'm proactive. See, we follow our intuition naturally in a reactive state. But what I'm hoping is that people become more proactive to partner with their Ori, with their higher self, with their whatever nomenclature you want to use, partner with that part of you that sees all of your timelines, all of your pathways, all of your directions, and says, hey, you could go that way, but I like this way better. You could do what you want, but this way, I feel like you would enjoy it more too than going that way. So I let my intuition dress me. I spent one day and I just let it ride me around town. Like, where am I going? And I'd get a thought, and I'm like, am I going here? I'd get a yes, and I would go. Now, so in a general sense, yes. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that your spiritual team stepped in and protected you. And mine and my mother's protected me when I was an infant. Actually, my firstborn son, prior to being my firstborn son, was an ancestor. And in that particular scenario, he was the ancestor that told my mother what she needed to do to protect me. So, yes, that's facts. It's just not the only time, but it is absolutely like there's a difference between fear and danger. Those two sensations are not identical. They're similar, but they're not identical. So they will sit there, if you feel like that moment of, I don't know, like you're getting ready to walk on stage, just sing a song for the very first time and you've never sang that song before. Fear. You are driving and not paying attention and you got to slam on brakes. Danger. Different feelings. When you put that's one of those ones where people can remember what that might have felt like because you've had that experience. And they don't feel the same. They feel different. So being able to discern, is this fear because I've never done it before? I'm a little nervous. Or is this danger? Like, you in danger, girl. You might want to get out. Like, paying attention to which one you feel and understanding that female. Well, that was unexpected. That was unexpected. But yeah, your spiritual team may have jumped in there to, make sure that you were taken care of in the way that you needed to be. So Ashe. Dude, it is after 9:00. Let me tell y'all, it's not that nobody popped on the tube of you or Facebook, but TikTok, y'all always do this. Y'all always do this. I say, I'm gonna come on here real quick. It even says in the thing, it's real quick. It says a quick update. An hour is not quick. An hour is not quick at all. But I thank y'all because that means y'all engaged in part of the conversation and it doesn't make it boring. It makes it fun. So thank y'all to y'all. Thank y'all to y'all. But I'm gonna wrap up with this. I have some openings this week for Zoom sessions. Absolutely. Just inbox me your email address. I'll send them to you. I have no problem with that. I will absolutely send them to you. So yeah, I have some Zoom sessions available this week. I don't know how many yet. I got to kind of see what my kid's schedule looks like, but I always have recorded sessions available. Like you can book a recorded reading anytime because I give myself at least 36 hours to get it done for you. So if you feel like you need a reading or divination and I don't have a live session available, you can book the recorded one. I will send you the video and everything to you so you can have those. So those are available this week. I may also be able to do some distance Reiki, which can also be live or recorded. So distance Reiki, I can send that over there to you as well. Let's see what else we got. I have the shop is open. So Elekes and Ides are available on my website and direct. So you can always, if you feel called that you want a piece, and it's called Blessed and Bespoke because all of my pieces are blessed. They are cleansed, blessed, depending on where we're at the moon cycle. I will charge them, all of the good stuff. Bespoke means it is custom. It's individually done, meaning whether you buy an oil, a bath, a leke, any day, I make it for the person. They are individually made so that they are unique to that individual. I may use a similar color scheme and things like that, especially the Elekes and Ides. They'll probably have the same color scheme, but they won't be made the same. They won't be made the same, and I don't bless them in the same way because we may talk and you may tell me a specific intention, and that's the intention I'm going to place upon that piece. So all of those things are available. Be on the lookout because June 6th is the Pink Takeover for Black women. Black women, if you have not heard about this, I'm going to need you to go ahead and check out that hashtag. But I am going to do a special. I'm going to run a special specifically for that day where I discount readings and stuff on that day for the Pink Takeover. And I'm going to make a piece specifically for it. So I'll make a couple of pink bracelets because I bought some pink beads to do. So I'm gonna make a few pink pieces and those will be available specifically for that event. And the intention is to just give Black women exposure, some fellowship, and also support Black businesses. So that particular day is if you're supposed to make your hair pink. I can't dye my hair pink, but I can get some pink lock jewelry. So I'm going to probably try to get some pink lock jewelry to put in my locks and get some cords and things so that my locks can quote unquote be pink. But yeah, we're going to pink out on the 6th. And this is not a me thing. This is something I saw a group of women doing. And I was like, I want to help support this movement. So I'm going to make some pink pieces for self-love. And then I'm going to run some pink specials. So y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. I also was a guest on the Sacred Sisterhood podcast. And so that interview is now streaming. I actually just posted the TikTok with the information in it earlier. So y'all can check that out as well. But what was supposed to be a very short life update just ended up being me talking on TikTok like I normally do. But thank y'all for all the likes. 1.1K, dope. Thank y'all for all the likes and the gifts. I got some gifts. I love to see it. And I hope that y'all have a beautiful rest of your Sunday evening. I hope that the rest of your week is beautiful. And y'all take care. Bye.